The time has come to recognize a grim truth. The political system is rotting from the inside out, consumed by corruption, dishonesty, and self-serving interests. Nowhere is this more evident than in the growing scandal surrounding Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Rayner's alleged fabrications about her employment history, her dubious connections with Labour leader Keir Starmer, and accusations of electoral interference are not just an isolated series of mishaps. They are symptomatic of a wider, systemic problem in British politics, one where personal ambition and power grab at any cost are placed above the truth and the people they are meant to serve. It is no longer a question of whether Rayner should resign. The real question is, how much longer can we allow our political leaders to operate under the veil of hypocrisy and deceit without holding them accountable? The explosive claims against Rayner expose not only her personal failings but also a profound betrayal of the public trust. Her alleged lies about her professional background, particularly the supposed facades surrounding her years as a home care worker, are deeply troubling. Rayner has built her entire political persona around a narrative of working-class authenticity, using her alleged background as a home care worker to position herself as someone who truly understands the struggles of ordinary Britons. If the documents that have now come to light are accurate, and Rayner has fabricated this part of her history, it is nothing short of a scandal. What does it say about the integrity of a person who is willing to manipulate their own background for personal gain? It speaks volumes about the moral decay at the heart of her political career. This is not a minor issue, it's a fundamental betrayal of the very values that her supporters thought they were voting for. If Rayner cannot be trusted to tell the truth about something as basic as her employment history, how can anyone trust her to lead? Moreover, the involvement of her ex-husband, Mark Rayner, in this saga further complicates an already murky situation. On the one hand, his contradictions and leaked information are clearly a reflection of a deeply toxic personal relationship. On the other, it raises the unsettling possibility that Rayner's career has been built not just on lies, but on exploitation of those closest to her. Whether Mark is motivated by personal revenge or a desire to expose the truth, the consequences for Rayner are clear. Her credibility has been shattered. Her actions, both in public and private, have led to one inevitable conclusion. She is no longer fit to hold public office. Regardless of the motivations behind Mark's revelations, they have irrevocably tarnished her reputation, and the damage done is irreversible. However, the scandal does not end with the allegations of dishonesty. The claims of election interference are arguably even more alarming. If Rayner used her influence to manipulate the electoral process, delaying local elections where Reform UK was expected to make significant gains, it's a blatant violation of democratic principles. This isn't just a matter of political infighting, this is an attack on the very foundation of our democracy. The power to delay elections is a powerful tool, one that should never be wielded for personal or partisan gain. If these accusations are proven true, it is not just Rayner who should be held accountable, but also the entire Labour Party that has allowed this kind of corruption to fester. Political power should never trump the will of the people. It is a dark day when leaders view elections as nothing more than strategic hurdles to be manipulated for political advantage. Even as Rayner fights back, claiming that the delays were due to necessary council restructuring, the timing of these actions is far too convenient to be anything other than politically motivated. The suggestion that local elections were delayed to protect Labour's interests and to stave off potential gains by the opposition is too damning to ignore. For those who claim this is all part of a politically motivated smear campaign, the question must be asked, how much more evidence is needed before we take action? Rayner's defenders argue that personal matters should not overshadow her political achievements. But what political achievements are we talking about here? How can we ignore the pattern of deception, the attempts to manipulate the system, and the outright dishonesty that she has shown? The Labour Party cannot afford to turn a blind eye to these allegations. To do so would only cement the party's image as one that tolerates dishonesty and corruption in its ranks. How can Labour position itself as a champion of transparency and accountability when one of its senior members is embroiled in such scandal? If the Labour Party refuses to act, it will only serve to confirm the public's worst fears, that it is no different from any other political institution that values power above integrity. There is no room for leniency here. The damage to Rayner's reputation is severe, and it is only growing with each new revelation. The public is not fooled by excuses, and the opposition will continue to hammer home the point that someone who behaves in this way has no place in government. Rayner's resignation is not just necessary, it is the only way to salvage any shred of credibility for both her and her party. For too long, politicians have assumed that they can lie, cheat, and manipulate their way to power without consequence. Angela Rayner's scandal is the latest example of how far we have fallen. It is time for the public to demand better, and for political leaders to realize that there is no room for dishonesty in public office. Rayner's career is finished. The only question left is whether Labour will have the courage to cut its ties with her before the damage becomes irreparable.